Well, good morning. It was mighty cool this morning compared to what they said it was going to be. We're here at Indian Creek, Tarzan's farm, jungle, ex-mushroom grower, just living the life. There's my compost pile. She's working. It's about half the size it was whenever they brought it in. I don't know how many truckloads it was. It was several weeks worth, 2 or 3 a day sometimes, maybe 4. This will eventually all go into the garden. Still got another little bit of time to go to make it super righteous. I've turned it about 3 times just because there's a place here. This is where I've been piling up all that all the pulled seeds. Now I've separated out the ones that I've wanted on the bigger plants, bigger seeds, and they're in a different pile. That's collards. That was tender greens. That one up there is collards. Thought we'd give y'all a run around the garden this morning because it's absolutely kicking. We've still got a lot of the fall crops in here. This row of Swiss chard and a kale. My next victim is this back row next to the fence here. We're going to go in there and pull all of that stuff out of there. Try to get all the dock so it doesn't seed. Some of it's going to seed about halfway down. Here we are with our first crop of green beans coming along, flowering really good. The deer have come in. They got over my fence and got in here and snipped off a bunch of these guys. And we didn't get as many takers. You know, the seed didn't all set. That's all right. We just planted another row this morning. These are Contender green beans, stringless. Just for GP here, there's a bunch of cilantro in amongst all of this kale and Swiss chard. And I've got a number of the kale starting to top out. We're going to be able to pull seed off of this pretty soon. So when we get all the seed we want, we'll pull all this up and we'll plant something else over here. Mushrooms are just popping. They're growing on a whole bunch of wooden substrate that I've got down here underground. I'll show y'all what it kind of looks like. This is a see that right there? See that critter? Right, no more. Dead critter. Worm eating my stuff. See the top of that? That's where the deer topped off that plant right there. So in this aisle right here, see kind of the wetness of it? That's I just planted that in green beans. That'll be up 4 or 5 days, maybe a little bit longer. Colored light Swiss chard here. There's some critters that I normally smash. See that? And there's their babies right there next to them. These guys here, I don't know who they are, but I don't want them. I haven't figured out who they are, but they're not a good guy. Check out that row of tomatoes. If that don't make you smile, nothing will. Seriously. And to rub a tomato plant, man, I don't know how many women smelled any better than a tomato plant. Yeah, we got some good cabbage still coming on, making. We do have some cabbage bugs in here though that are eating on some of the cabbage. Fennel, absolutely tearing it up. Yellow squash right here. This is a straight neck variety, and I was able to kill every day. I try to some of the moths that lay the vine borers in squash and cucurbits and kill the plants. If I can kill the moth, I can keep my plants alive. They're looking good now. I've killed about 4 or 5 moths in the last 3 or 4 days. And I just missed one about 30 minutes ago. Look at that. And more nutrition in that than 400 cans of soup. It's almost time to start pulling onions. When they start laying over, I hear that's whenever you're supposed to. I got some onions coming on here pretty good. There's that heirloom okra, purple, and it grows a great big old giant fat okra pod. More onions coming along. We got some pretty good ones in there. Some hogs, as we say out here in the country. On that other side, we got bell peppers, purple bell peppers. And we got more bell peppers over a little bit further. These guys here, this is white scallop squash. Looking mighty fine. Some people may have never seen what a carrot seed looks like, but that's the flower on a carrot. That big plant right there, that's a carrot. There's a big carrot in the ground. But I'm saving seed this year like a madman. Wild abandon and seed. I'm saving all kinds of seed. Here, let's slip around on this other side over here. We'll switch from side to side. This is another row of tomatoes. Oh, they look fantastic. They're a little bit older, younger. They're about 3 weeks younger than the first row. And I planted another row yesterday. More kale. More onions. I think these are the yellow onions. The other ones are white onions. But they're all planted at the same time. Better Boy tomatoes. I don't see a use for planting anything else if you can get them. These guys are super good tasting, at least in my ground they are. Superb producers. And they don't have a bunch of problems. Worms do eat them like they eat everything else. These bell peppers are California Wonders. I may slip a cage or two on top of these because they're getting a little top heavy. I don't want them to snap over. They're doing good though. And I just planted this little row right here with a bunch of more yellow squash. Can anybody tell me what this native plant is right here? I won't tell you. You'll have to try to figure it out. But it was like America's first spinach. That's the Pilgrims ate this plant as a spinach. Very highly nutritious, decent taste, not a bad palate. We're going to slip on over. This is some beets. More chard. Chard and beets. We have, we're going to let 3 or 4 of the beet plants go to seed. This is the start of a beet going to seed. We'll show you one that's a little bit further along here pretty soon. That one's like 5 foot tall, maybe 5.5. There's some gigantic beets underneath there. I picked a bunch the other day. I need to pick some more. I need to just go ahead and pull this whole row up and and go ahead and can them, because I need this row. I don't know what else I'm going to plant, but these guys are they're going to seed, so they'll get, the plant will not be good. This was a volunteer from last year. I'm not too sure what kind of squash or melon it is, but I figured, what the heck. It's hard. I have a hard time pulling up a plant that would produce food. There's a beet that's had a little bit more age on it. Every one of those itty bitty dots there will become a seed, and they get pretty big, you know, the beet seed does. So there's gonna be lots of seeds. Got a lot more growing to do. I probably got another month or so before this one's ready to pull, to harvest. There's a pile of cilantro. And Europeans know it as coriander. And there's the coriander seed. So there's tons and tons and tons of seed there. I'll be shaking that loose in another week or so, day or so. This is spinach. That's all spinach seed still on the top head. Then we have this native Perilius frutescens, I think it is. It's it tastes pretty wild. Make a hell of a tea. And then we got some okra planted there in amongst it. I'm hoping the okra outruns it, but it looks like the Perilius is kicking. I may have to thin it out to get the okra to come up. But that's okra right there. And it likes it real hot. So the hotter the weather, you know, it thrives. And there's that row of tomatoes that I planted yesterday. I grew these from seeds and just got them in the ground. This is butternut squash. It's a winter squash. You grow it in the summer, but it's for storage. Some squashes will last 6 months on a shelf. So you grow it in the summer and store it in the winter. That's why it's called winter squash. This next group down here, I think it starts about right here. I think that one right there is it. This is a acorn squash, which is a winter squash. It'll store. They're viners. Some squash are bush, like yellow squash, zucchini squash, the white scallop squash. Those are all bush varieties. This here is a vining, so it'll cover this whole area. And the last row over here is a vining bean. So this is Kentucky Wonder pole beans. And they're coming along, but the deer got a hold of these guys and snipped them off, and now they're coming along. I planted 2 sessions, so this is the first session here. This next session is Kentucky Wonder pole beans, just getting up there. They're about to start setting a vine. Cilantro everywhere. It grows wild here like crazy. These are cucumbers. I don't eat a lot of cucumbers, so I don't grow a whole bunch of them, but I had seeds, so I threw them in here. Let them come up on this fence line over here. And this is cantaloupe. The rest of the Mohicans on the cantaloupe over here on the other side of the garden. Cilantro, growing cilantro, pulled cilantro. Oop, sorry about all that fast movement, guys, gals. There's Tarzan's garden. Thank you for coming along. This is my therapy here. I love it. Y'all have a great day. Bye.